G'day, legends and boys. I'm going to need your help today because we are just over a week away from Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. One of the most, what are we doing here title shots we have ever seen. You know, I would probably say since Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal for the BMF made-up title, you know, the title that didn't even exist, or Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, the guy who didn't have a win in the entire top 15 of his divisions, or someone who clearly didn't deserve it, Khabib versus Ally Quinta. The bloke that was just in New York at the time selling property, and Dana White was like, get in there, kid. Have a go. See if you can take him down. Not since the days of Jon Jones versus Chael Sonnen have we had a Jon Jones needs something to do title fight like this one. But I need your help, boys, because I've been doing live chats all week, and I'm starting to get gaslit by my own MMA community, thinking that Stipe actually has a chance of getting this done. This is a serious problem that I'm having right now. I stayed up last night for a significant amount of time, just picturing all the ways that Stipe could beat up Jon Jones. And here's the problem with that. As I was thinking about Stipe just ground and pounding Jon Jones, I started to get a hard on over it, you know, because I really want to see Stipe beat up Jon Jones. And the Jon Jones fans, it's weird, right? They seem to be like the 5 people that voted for Kamala. You know, the kind of people that were like, do the right thing. He's a convicted felon. How could you vote for someone who says the things he says? Those type of people, they seem to be Jon Jones fans. And how you can be a fan of Jon Jones, the kind of guy that drives his car into a pregnant woman, but don't worry, he'll come back to make sure that his cocaine is okay in the back of the seat. How you can be a fan of that guy and not want Stipe to get it done, I just don't know. I don't understand those people. So you better believe that if Stipe gets it done, we're going to be celebrating so wild that I might not even remember the celebration. Yeah, we're talking, if there was cameras following me, they could instantly just put out the Hangover 4. But here's the thing, it's not just a want. I'm starting to believe that he can do it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be officially picking Stipe Miocic, but there is one thing that stops my pick. We'll get to it towards the end. But when you go back and actually look at the fight, look at Jon Jones's 3 or 4 or last 5 fights, they're not very good, right? Here's the thing. I don't think Jon Jones is that good of a fighter anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there's something of saying, Nick Diaz, one of the best fighters at Strikeforce. In his prime, absolutely great. But Nick Diaz in 2024, 2025, he's not a very good fighter anymore. Let me refresh your memories for some of the guys who joined us during the pandemic. How good of a fighter is Tony Ferguson? Now, if you joined us during the pandemic, you don't know that Tony Ferguson was a great fighter. And this is what I'm saying, right? We're not dealing with Jon Jones from 2014 anymore. Like back in the day, he would beat the piss out of anyone. He beat the piss out of DC, out-wrestled DC. But we also need to forget that Jon Jones had so little testosterone in his body that the UFC could have allowed him to compete in the women's division. That fight was overturned to a no contest because something was clearly going on. There was a masking agent being used to hide something else. So he comes back from being banned from doing so many performance-enhancing drugs that he had no testosterone in his body. And let's face it, he fought like it. He took Ovince St. Preux to a decision. He took Anthony Smith to a decision. Those wins have aged absolutely terribly. Then there's the Thiago Santos thing, right? Thiago Santos, he had no ligaments left in his kneecap from the very first round, and yet he still managed to draw Jon Jones out to a decision and make it look very competitive. Dominic Reyes, horrible fight. Clearly Jon Jones lost that fight, and if you go back and look at the actual judging, it turns out there was 3 Sal D'Amatos sitting there. They just cloned Sal and put him there 3 times. So then you've got like the people out there, the recent fans, the ones that joined us in 2019 and beyond, and they say, look, he beat the hell out of Cyril Gane, you know? It was 2.5 minutes, and yeah, he beer-gutted his way over a bloke that had never done wrestling in his life. Cyril Gane is a kickboxer, a Muay Thai fighter, from a country that only came up with MMA the year before Jon Jones decided to just out-wrestle him. So when you look at Jon Jones's career, post being a drug cheat suspension, he has sort of aged bloody terribly. His fights look horrible. He's not a very good fighter in the modern day. I don't think that that's that wild of a thing to say. Plus, he has been off for a year now with this horrible pec injury. We know he's been world touring and drinking all year. This guy is not exactly an elite athlete. So you've got all of that against the greatest bloody heavyweight of all time, mate. Now, what holds us back here? Well, the fact that we saw the greatest heavyweight of all time get slumped. He looked like a Grand Theft Auto character on the wasted screen. He was absolutely obliterated by Francis Ngannou. However, Does Jon Jones hit like Francis Ngannou? Does Jon Jones hit like anybody? Jon Jones doesn't have any knockdowns, I don't think, or any TKO finishes. Jon Jones is a little bit pillow-fisted, right? Not only that, DC was trying to rock Stipe Miocic. DC was raking out Stipe's eyeballs, just like Jon Jones is going to try and do in this fight. You can guarantee that. Jon Jones is going to try and rake out Stipe's eyeballs. But Stipe, unlike most human beings, decided that not only does he not need the power of speech, he doesn't need the power of vision. And he just went in there anyway and kept swinging, all right? And he will do that to Jon Jones. He will swing through his eye pokes, yeah? And I don't care if Jon Jones lands with the power of a cat falling out of a tree. Stipe Miocic knows how to make sure that cat doesn't land where it needs to. So you got all of that. You got the power of Stipe, who actually can hurt Jon Jones. The power of Jon Jones, which is incapable of hurting Stipe. Then people want to talk about the ring rust for Stipe Miocic. Well, apart from 2.5 minutes against Cyril Gane, Jon Jones has been out for longer than Stipe. And we know for a fact that Jon Jones this year, recently, last year, whatever, the most recent version of Jon Jones, has had a horrible, horrible pec injury that has at least kept him out of the gym and training. Whereas on the opposite side of that coin, Stipe knew that this fight was going to happen last year, was uninjured. So technically, Stipe has had essentially 2 years where he has not been injured to prepare for this moment. Exactly for this moment. And Stipe is not exactly the kind of guy that goes out and does world tours and knows beers and wants to punch a USADA agent when they rock up to their house. Stipe just gets up for work every morning, does his job at the firehouse, comes home, goes to the gym, just bloody gets on with it, mate. He lives like a lot cleaner of an athlete than Jon Jones does, especially in the last year. So when you put all of that together, you notice that Stipe's got a chance. And this is everything that the chat has convinced me of for the last couple of days. And I am starting to believe it, boys. So I need your help, right? Walk me off the picking Stipe Miocic edge here, right? I am looking at the odds of Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic via decision on Sportsbet, and it's looking tastier and tastier by the day. Dougie needs to pay his mortgage off, and I'm starting to believe that Stipe is the hope to do it. So I'm asking you, the MMA community, put your reasons down in the comments why it is insane to think that Stipe Miocic might have a chance to beat Jon Jones. Please help me. I am being gaslit by my live stream and I need you to talk me out of it. If you enjoyed this video, my name's Dougie. I make an MMA video every single day. I try and go live about 3 times a week. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when I go live, hit that notification bell. And boys, if you're already on board with the channel, you guys have been gaslighting me. So maybe don't leave a like on this one. Maybe just give me some time to recover so I can get my head straight about what we're doing next week. Until then, I will see you all in the next video. Later.